Hey everybody, it's Jim from Cigars. And as you can see, I'm in my spacious winter smoking hut, and I have all the niceties in here, my ashtray and my cigar and a little heater and something to drink. And it's about 50 degrees in here and about 20 degrees outside, so that's a pretty good deal. So instead of reviewing a cigar from here, I have some in the can that I shot during nicer weather that I'm going to show. But I'm working on a new indoor studio. But until then, enjoy this video of one that I did during nicer weather. Hey everybody, it's Jim from Cigars. Today I am reviewing the West Tampa Tobacco Company Red. And if you're familiar with this line with West Tampa Tobacco, they currently only have 3 different cigars. And the only way you can tell them apart is the color of the band. And this one happens to be the red, which signifies what they bill as the full-bodied cigar of their line. The white is a medium, and the black is a medium full, supposedly. This is the second one of this cigar that I've smoked, and I want to make sure that I get a little bit bigger sample than one to give it a fair shot. But I got to say the first one was pretty good, so we'll go from there. A little bit about West Tampa Tobacco Company. Rick Rodriguez, who you may recognize his name as an exec with CAO, and in 2022 started the West Tampa Tobacco Company. It's an ode to where he grew up in West Tampa, which used to be a big cigar hub back in the day, and his grandparents actually left Cuba in 1953 and came and settled in West Tampa and worked in the cigar industry in West Tampa. So he was somewhat familiar with it. His parents decided not to be in the cigar business, but he got the bug and wanted to be in it, and eventually landed with CAO and now more recently his own company. So that's a quick background on it. Let's talk about the cigar itself. This is a San Andres wrapper Maduro, and man, it is, as you can see, very, very dark, very rough. It's a little bit rugged looking cigar, kind of rustic looking, a little bit bumpy and veiny and stuff like that. Pretty dry wrapper. It doesn't really have a lot of oil in it. Binder and filler on this are Nicaraguan, and it's made in a factory in Esteli to the specifications of West Tampa Tobacco Company. So I'm going to get this thing lit up and smoke her down and give you a report. I'm far enough down in this West Tampa Tobacco Company Red to give you a final report on it. And I got to say, I'm not quite as enamored as I was with the first one. It's still good. I'm going to have to kind of average to do a final rating on it. One thing I've noticed, the construction hasn't been quite as good as the one previous. Took a relight, a little bit of canoeing, and there's a crack. I'm showing a picture of it that developed under where the band was. And I also have to explain about the band. As you saw at the beginning, the band on this is rather elaborate and takes up quite a bit of the cigar, but it's a nightmare to get off. You have to basically tear it apart. And I think I may have manhandled the wrapper a little bit in doing so. So, little hint, if you smoke one of these and you're a band collector, I'd say you're going to need a knife or something, because the first one was like that as well. So, and honestly, if that's the biggest problem with this cigar, come on, Jim. But overall combustion has been good, smoke production good. Flavor isn't quite as good. The first one I smoked was like a chocolate powerhouse. There's very few cigars where I would really hands down say, man, this tasted like chocolate. And the one yesterday did. This one had kind of a brief flurry of chocolate taste. But by and large, it's been pretty just cedary, a little bit of cinnamon in that dark coffee taste that you'd expect with a San Andres wrapper. Nonetheless, it's been a pretty good smoke. Boldness, I gotta say, this isn't quite as full-bodied as they make it out to be. More like, I'd give it a 8.0 out of 10 in terms of boldness and strength. So it's not going to knock you over by any means. It is very smooth though, and I think that kind of offsets maybe some of the boldness. In terms of overall smoking experience, if I was rating the first one, I'd give it a 9. I'm going to have to give this one about a 7.5. So let's split the difference on that, and I'm going to say 8.25, which is that right? Yeah. Math on the fly. So it's 8.25. And that's a good cigar. There's no question about it. Not a great cigar, but very, very good. Price point in this is about $9 or $10, which really isn't bad. I think it's definitely worth picking one up if you can get them. They are a little bit hard to get, but I notice they're easing off a little bit in that regard. So get one if you can, or get a 5-pack. Give them a try, and I think you'll like it. Jim from Cigars, Cigars, Cigars.